Hello, hello, Nikki Warren here, and I'm excited to have Coral Warren along my side. Coral and I today are talking about intermittent fasting and excited to give you a couple different perspectives on how things can work in different areas of our life. So, Coral is an ICU nurse and an ER nurse. She works lots of hours right now and has a big stress load on her shoulders, where I probably have, similar stress and dealing with it in different ways, but I'm at home and working from home and utilizing intermittent fasting to get me back on track. So before we jump into this, I just want a disclaimer of like really making sure that if you have any eating disorders or if you're on any kind of medication, anything that has to do with your health needs to be talked about, discussed with your healthcare workers and your team that you have. So these are just tips on how it has functioned well for me and my clients. Coral's going to share her perspective on being in the profession that she is, but please be conscious about this is not a diet. It's just something. And what we're talking about with intermittent fasting is not multiple day fasts. What we're talking about is taking a little bit of a longer break at night, giving your pancreas a little bit of a break for digesting your food. So I'm encouraging you to start your fast 3 hours before you go to bed. That gives you ample time to digest your food. You sleep better at night. You wake up hungry. You drink your lemon water, as Coral was sharing in our last episode. Drink your lemon water first. Move your body a little bit, maybe drink some green tea, any kind of herbal tea does not break your fast. When you're ready to break your fast, that can be coffee with cream, or that can be your breakfast, cream being oat milk or whatever that is, but having your breakfast. And so that's what we're going to discuss today. So, Coral, I would love to hear how intermittent fasting, I know you've done the Jumpstart program with us before. This is this Jumpstart that we're doing now is kind of in a whole new world. So how do you feel about intermittent fasting and how does it work in your life?
I'm a huge fan. It's been, it just made me be a lot more cognizant of my eating habits. There would be times where I'd get off of work and it would be no big deal because I got off of work and that's what time I got home, and I'd eat dinner at 9 o'clock at night. And then when we wake up, because I'm still an early riser, I'd be getting up and I'd have my breakfast at 6:30 a.m. And I'm giving myself such a short amount of time to reset, but no one really thinks about that, or it's like I have dinner and then I wake up, and then I have dinner and I wake up. So it just made me a lot more cognizant of my eating habits. And then it also, I'm a big fan of having things be easy. So I downloaded the app Zero, and it fully set me up for it. Dings when I can eat. It dings when I can, when I set it. And it made a real mental note of when I'm eating my last meal, when I'm eating my last calorie, I should say. So I set that, and then where I'm like, okay, this is going to be my dinner. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. And then all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, ooh, now I can't eat until 1. Like, is that worth it? Or it really allowed me to look at the picture, because my body feels so much better once I do 16 hours. It's what works for me and what I've done. I slowly came down from 10 to 12 to 14 to 16, and 16 is what makes my body feel the best and the most energized. And I'll go back and forth between 14 and 16, but just a little quick shot. So when I'm done when I'm doing intermittent fasting, it really made me when I'm doing my 7 to 7 shift, I bring dinner to work. I can't wait until my 45-minute drive home, and then all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm eating dinner at 9:30. So I have set up my schedule to where I eat dinner at work, and that works for me. And then what's been more difficult for me is on my days off, because I am not forced. Yeah, I'm not forced to have, my 30-minute lunch at, noon, and that normally works out for me. It's my days off that I am really thankful for my app, and I'm really thankful for my team, because it keeps me on track.
Yeah, I think that that's so important. So I want to jump into a couple things that you said that were really important. Is a lot of times we're wondering, like, well, what is the optimal fast for me? And that's very individual. So as Coral was stating, is when she first was introduced to intermittent fasting, she was going from dinner at 9:30 at night to breakfast at 6:30 in the morning. And so if she went from that to 16 hours, that would feel like a diet, and that would feel restrictive, and that could push her into possibly like overeating, maybe when your eating window. So it's called an eating window, when your fast is over until you start your fast again. So that's an eating window. If she went from eating, every 7-8 hours to 16 hours, then she might eat too much in that window because she's feeling deprived. So I love that you said you went from, possibly like 8 hours to 10 hours to 11 hours to 12 hours. And it doesn't even have to be hour by hour. You could be extending this by 15 minutes, just extending it just a little bit, and then where you have a longer window. And again, preferably that window, and not always. I also, another thing that I really liked that you had said, and I just want to repeat it, is that it's not always 16 hours. So when we used to be able to go out and be social, we might Friday night go out to dinner and have wine with girlfriends or something like that. And so maybe your window there is shorter, like a 12-hour window. And then the next night you could make up for that and stop eating at 5 p.m. and then have your breakfast at 8 a.m. or something. So that you can play around with it. But the app that we're suggesting, some people just love to journal. For me, that Zero app was very helpful, is because it's that second line of accountability. So we're here as your coaches to help you be accountable. This app also for me, because for me, I like to eat dinner early, but my family eats dinner late. So it's not necessarily that I'm working late, but I'm making dinner for them late. When Kai used to be able to go out to play hockey, or Ed gets home from work late, they are grazing well into that same hours, like 9 o'clock. And then I would just start picking at it, because everybody calls me Picky Nikki. I'm a picker. And so I'm eating even though I'm not hungry. So this app, when I start my fast, right when I'm done with my dinner, then I brush my teeth, floss my teeth, drink my tea, and I can sit with them and still visit with them, but I know that I've set my app, and that time is, I'm now fasting.
Right. And it's a great like visual field for me, where I'm like, okay, I've set it here, so now I can eat at this time. And then every time that I'm like, okay, if I set it here, then I'm not eating until this time. And so it was just simple for me. And it was much easier to implement into my day to day. And honestly, just this on its own did huge changes for me. So diet for me and how my body reacts to it, we say 80-20, it's like 95-5 for me. Diet is everything for how my body reacts to how it looks, how it feels, how I feel. My energy is so based on my diet. And just implementing this intermittent fasting, which is having control over when you eat and when you don't eat. It's not saying don't eat. It's not restricting me on anything that I'm eating. It just implementing this one step of intermittent fasting was huge for me.
Well, thank you so much. Do you have, I mean, for me, I think that like just ending thoughts is try intermittent fasting. take it slow. So take it slow. Just start your fast as close to 3 hours before you go to bed as possible. You can have the same meal at night and the same meal in the morning. And your body, calorie is not a calorie. Your body, when you wake up in the morning, your pancreas, your digestive system is on fire and revved up for the day. So you're burning more calories than at night. So you have the same meal at night, late, everything in your body is slowing down and getting ready to go to sleep. So you're storing those calories where you wouldn't if you can eat less at night and maybe eat a little bit more for breakfast. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. And it was harder for me to implement a little bit just because I do get off of work late, but then the second that you just try it, just that's my thing is like just try it. Like this isn't like going to the grocery store. This is just one thing that you can do. It was way easier than what I expected.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Thanks, Coke. I really appreciate you being here with us. And just let us know how the intermittent fasting is doing for you. And if you have any questions, we're always here for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.